For more than a decade, reality television has built its strongest foundations on family-centered shows that draw millions of viewers into the daily lives of people who once seemed ordinary but quickly became the subjects of endless speculation, fascination, and controversy. Among those shows, few have managed to captivate audiences as consistently as Sister Wives, the long-running TLC series that chronicled the life of KODY Brown and his once sprawling polygamous household. When it first premiered, it was presented as a groundbreaking exploration of love, faith, family, and the challenges of plural marriage in modern America. Viewers tuned in with curiosity, and soon the series became not only a form of entertainment but also a cultural talking point. Yet as the years rolled by, cracks in the once-united family structure widened, relationships unraveled, and the tone of the show shifted dramatically. Now, as fans dissect every episode, every interview, and every social media post, an increasing number of viewers have become convinced that the end of the series is drawing near. They believe that the Brown family, and perhaps the show itself, has reached a breaking point. The perception that the end is coming stems from many layers of narrative changes that have unfolded in recent seasons. In the early years, Sister Wives revolved around the novelty of 4 women sharing one man and raising over a dozen children within a religious framework that was unfamiliar to much of the viewing audience. It was marketed as a show about unity, shared sacrifice, and the deep bonds that could form within plural marriage. Christine, Janelle, Mary, and eventually Robin were all framed as partners in an experiment of faith and family that challenged conventional definitions of marriage. For years, the women defended the lifestyle, while KODY positioned himself as the patriarch trying to balance the emotional and logistical demands of such an unusual household. But the longer the cameras rolled, the more the cracks in that narrative were exposed. By the time recent seasons aired, viewers could no longer ignore the glaring favoritism KODY displayed toward his 4th wife Robin. His relationship with the other 3 women deteriorated on camera, with bitterness, resentment, and heartbreak replacing what was once portrayed as solidarity. Christine's eventual decision to leave the marriage was a turning point, shocking audiences but also confirming suspicions that had been building for years. What once seemed like a house of faith and unity now appeared to be a fractured, fragile arrangement that had reached its limits. That sense of finality permeates nearly every recent storyline, and it is one of the key reasons viewers think the end is coming. Christine's departure not only reshaped the family dynamic but also redefined the show's narrative. Once the champion of plural marriage, she declared that she could no longer live in a relationship where she was unloved and undervalued. Viewers empathized deeply with her struggle, and many celebrated her newfound independence as a triumph over years of neglect. But Christine's exit also left a glaring hole in the storyline. Her presence had always been one of the most engaging parts of the show, and without her, fans wondered how much substance was left to explore. Janelle followed with her own growing distance from KODY, admitting publicly that she too was questioning her future with him. Mary, who had been emotionally estranged from KODY for years, finally began to confront the reality that her marriage was little more than a shell of what it once was. What began as a story of one man balancing 4 wives had now collapsed into a fragmented picture of estrangement, bitterness, and regret. Audiences have been vocal about their disappointment with how the story has shifted. They point out that the show no longer feels like a study of plural marriage but rather the unraveling of one man's ego. KODY's anger, his frequent tirades, and his unwillingness to acknowledge his role in the family's collapse have alienated not only his wives but also many viewers who once sympathized with him. Episodes that used to highlight large family gatherings, cooperative parenting, and shared traditions have been replaced with tense conversations, emotional breakdowns, and bitter confessions. Instead of seeing the Browns come together, viewers see them drift further apart. To many, it feels like the end of the road because there is no longer a cohesive family unit to document. Another sign that fans interpret as evidence of the end is the way the adult children have distanced themselves from the core storyline. In the early seasons, the Brown kids were central to the show's heartwarming moments. Viewers watched them grow up, graduate, and navigate their own paths. Their interactions were often lighter, providing a balance to the heavier themes of marriage struggles and jealousy. But in recent years, many of the children have taken a back seat, choosing to live their lives largely off camera. Some have openly criticized their father, while others have sided with their mothers. The sense of family unity that once defined the show has been replaced by generational divides. Without the presence of the kids as a unifying element, the show feels increasingly reliant on conflict between the adults, a formula that many viewers believe cannot sustain itself indefinitely. Robyn's role in the shifting narrative cannot be overlooked. For years, fans speculated that she was Kody's favorite wife, a claim that both she and Kody denied repeatedly. Yet episode after episode, it became difficult to ignore that she received more of his time, affection, and resources. When Christine left, she pointed directly to this favoritism as a major factor in her decision. Janelle and Mary echoed similar sentiments, suggesting that they too felt neglected in favor of Robyn. This perception of inequality shattered the illusion that the marriages were balanced. To audiences, the favoritism was the undoing of the family and the show itself. The series was once built on the premise of equality within plural marriage, then Kody's clear preference for Robyn undermined its very foundation. Now, with Kody and Robyn appearing to be the last marriage standing, viewers question what is left to document. Tension that drove the show may soon dissolve into a single monogamous relationship that no longer resembles the original premise of sister wives. The tell-all episodes, which traditionally serve as climactic wrap-ups at the end of each season, have further fueled speculation about the end. In these specials, the cast members often reveal behind-the-scenes truths that the regular episodes only hinted at. Recent tell-alls have been especially brutal, with wives openly stating that they no longer consider themselves in a marriage with Kody. His defensive responses and unwillingness to take responsibility have only heightened the perception that the family is finished. Fans watch these tell-alls not to gain closure but to witness the collapse in real time. Each confession, each admission of estrangement, feels like another nail in the coffin of the family as viewers once knew it. Social media has amplified this sense of finality. Christine, now remarried, shares her happiness with fans, often contrasting her new life with the pain of her past. Janelle posts about her independence and her focus on personal growth. Mary, too, has embraced new ventures outside of the family. Meanwhile, Kody and Robyn remain largely defensive, often portraying themselves as victims of betrayal. These public narratives only reinforce the idea that the Browns are no longer one family but rather individuals who have gone their separate ways. To viewers, it feels less like a pause in the story and more like an ending that has already been written. The broader cultural context also plays a role in why viewers think the end is coming. When Sister Wives first premiered, the concept of plural marriage was shocking and controversial, drawing attention simply because it was so unusual. But in the years since, audiences have been exposed to a wide range of unconventional family dynamics through reality television. The novelty has worn off, and without the unique structure of four wives united under one household, the show risks losing its central appeal. If the Browns no longer represent plural marriage but rather the collapse of it, then the original premise of the series has been eroded. Fans speculate that TLC may decide the story has run its course and that there is little left to explore beyond the dissolution that has already been so thoroughly documented. Another key reason viewers are convinced the end is near is the emotional exhaustion that permeates recent episodes. Longtime fans note that the show has become increasingly heavy, filled with bitterness and anger rather than the mix of humor, love, and struggle that once made it compelling. Constant conflicts, repetitive arguments, and lack of resolution make it difficult for some viewers to remain invested. Many have expressed that they watch out of habit or curiosity rather than genuine enjoyment. When a reality show reaches that stage, it often signals that its storytelling power is waning. Fans see the exhaustion on screen and interpret it as a sign that both the family and the producers may soon decide to close this chapter. Speculation about the end is also fueled by comparisons to other long-running reality series. Shows that focus on families often thrive when they evolve, bringing in new generations or shifting focus to younger members. But Sister Wives has struggled to transition in this way. The adult children, as noted, have largely stepped back, and the focus has remained on the unraveling of the core marriages. Without new storylines to replace the collapsing ones, viewers feel that the show is reaching a natural conclusion. Some even argue that continuing beyond this point risks tarnishing the legacy of what was once a groundbreaking series. Even as fans speculate about the end, they acknowledge that reality television has a way of reinventing itself. Some wonder whether the Browns could transition into a new format, perhaps focusing on the lives of the ex-wives post-divorce or following the children as they build their own families. Yet for many, such spin-offs would only confirm that the original series has reached its end. Title Sister Wives itself no longer applies in the same way it once did, as the sisterhood has fractured and the wives have largely moved on from their shared identity. Question that lingers for fans is not only whether the show is ending but also how it should end. Some hope for a final season that provides closure, with each wife given the chance to reflect on her journey and share her vision for the future. Others fear that the series will simply fizzle out, dragged on until ratings no longer justify its continuation. Whatever the outcome, the overwhelming sentiment among viewers is that the story of Kody Brown and his plural family has reached a point of no return. The unity that once defined them is gone, replaced by fractured relationships, lingering bitterness, and a future that no longer includes everyone at the same table. It is in this context that the phrase "the end is coming" has become a common refrain among fans. It is not a dramatic overstatement but rather a recognition of the realities that have unfolded before their eyes. The Browns may once have embodied the complexities of plural marriage, but now they embody its collapse. And while endings are often bittersweet, many viewers believe that this ending is both inevitable and necessary. For Christine, Janelle, and Mary, moving on from Kody has already brought new beginnings. For Robin and Kody, the challenge will be redefining their story outside of the framework that made them famous. For the audience, the journey has been long, emotional, and at times frustrating, but it has also been unforgettable. As speculation grows and each new season is dissected for signs of finality, one thing is certain: the story of the Browns has reached a decisive turning point. Whether TLC chooses to continue documenting it or not, the family as viewers first knew it no longer exists. That reality is what convinces so many that the end is coming, and that the curtain may soon fall on one of the most talked-about families in reality television history. Christine Brown has long been one of the most beloved stars of the TLC reality series Sister Wives, and in recent months, she has surprised fans not only with her newfound independence but also with a stunning physical transformation that has left viewers talking across social media platforms. The mother of 6, who spent more than 2 decades as one of Kody Brown's 4 wives before walking away from their plural marriage, has unveiled a remarkable 45-pound weight loss that has shocked audiences and inspired thousands who have followed her journey since the show first aired. Christine's physical transformation is not simply about numbers on a scale. It symbolizes her dramatic emotional and personal rebirth after years of struggle, heartbreak, and the painful unraveling of her family. To many who have supported her throughout the turbulence of her relationship with Kody, her slimmer, healthier, and more radiant appearance is a living metaphor for how far she has come since leaving the man who often dismissed her needs and desires. From the earliest days of Sister Wives, Christine was portrayed as someone who carried the emotional weight of the family on her shoulders. As the 3rd wife to join Kody Brown's family, she became the nurturing, hands-on caregiver not only for her own children but also for her Sister Wives' kids. Audiences quickly fell in love with her bubbly personality, her constant laughter, and her insistence on putting the happiness of her children first. Yet as seasons unfolded, it became increasingly clear that Christine struggled with her own insecurities and her place in the plural marriage. She admitted on camera that she often felt overlooked, unloved, and secondary in Kody's eyes, particularly after he married Robin and seemed to devote more time and attention to her than to his other wives. The emotional toll of being neglected in her marriage was something Christine rarely hid from fans. She spoke candidly about her feelings of jealousy, inadequacy, and disappointment. These feelings sometimes affected her confidence, and at various points in the series she admitted that her self-esteem had taken serious hits. While she never let her struggles stop her from being a strong mother, viewers sensed that Christine carried a burden far heavier than her cheerful exterior suggested. This is one reason her recent weight loss and newfound confidence resonates so deeply with fans. They see not just a woman who lost pounds but a woman who shed years of emotional baggage and rediscovered her sense of self-worth. Christine's transformation began around the same time that she made the courageous decision to leave KODY Brown. In 2021, she announced that she was ending her spiritual marriage to him, a decision that shocked viewers but also made sense given the years of tension that had played out on screen. Christine explained that she could no longer remain in a relationship where she felt unloved, rejected, and constantly overlooked. Her decision to put herself first for the first time in decades became a rallying cry for many women who watched the show. Fans across the world applauded her bravery, and they continued to follow her as she embarked on a new chapter of independence, self-love, and freedom. In the aftermath of her split from KODY, Christine seemed to blossom. She moved to Utah, surrounded herself with supportive family members and friends, and began embracing new opportunities. She launched social media projects, shared recipes, engaged with fans online, and above all, started focusing on her health. Her dramatic 45-pound weight loss became evident over time, with followers noticing the difference in her slimmer figure, glowing complexion, and bright energy. Each new photograph she posted sparked waves of admiration from fans who marveled at how happy, confident, and comfortable she appeared in her own skin. Christine has credited her transformation to consistency, lifestyle changes, and above all, a renewed sense of joy in life. Unlike fad diets or quick fixes, her approach appeared to be rooted in sustainability. She embraced healthier eating habits, incorporated exercise into her routine, and most importantly, allowed herself the emotional space to focus on personal growth. The results spoke for themselves. Friends and fans alike noticed not only the physical changes but also the way she carried herself. Gone was the Christine who often second-guessed herself or laughed through pain. In her place stood a woman who radiated confidence and self-assurance. For fans who have followed her journey for over a decade, Christine's weight loss symbolized something larger than a physical shift. It represented liberation from the emotional chains that bound her during her marriage to KODY. Throughout her time on Sister Wives, she spoke of wanting a marriage where she felt loved, desired, and respected. Instead, she endured years of favoritism, neglect, and dismissiveness. Walking away from that environment not only freed her emotionally but also set the stage for her to invest in her own well-being. Her slimmer figure became a visible sign of her inner healing, and her brighter smile reflected the freedom she gained by prioritizing her own happiness. The reception from fans has been overwhelmingly positive. On Instagram and Facebook, comments pour in whenever Christine posts new photos. Followers describe her as glowing, radiant, and inspiring. Many share that they too are motivated to begin their own wellness journeys after seeing her transformation. Others praise her not just for the weight loss but for the strength she displayed in leaving a toxic situation. For them, Christine embodies resilience and self-discovery. They admire her not because she lost weight but because she found herself again in the process.